We're digging deep into Blind Guardian history. Welcome the new old guests in this round. Mark Dirk, former rhythm guitarist, and the good old Hans-Peter Frey. Hello. Drummer of Lucifer's heritage and almost of Blind Guardian.
So nice to have you guys, as you're all here now. We like to go into the heavy metal community back in Krefeld in the early 80s. Tell us a little bit about how you got together.
So I think it's my turn, because I know Andre for a very, very long time. So we meet each other when we were 13, 14. At the beginning, we did not like each other. So it was for one year, I think, but then we came much more together.
After you beat me up.
Sorry, I don't want to.
We had a really bad fight in school.
But why am I not surprised to find out that he won?
Well, he was stronger in the early days. And, yeah, he really gave me a bad beat up. And after that, we became friends. I respected him a little bit more.
Yeah, and then we found out that we both made music. Yes, and then we got the drummer, and then we built the basement at Andre's mother's house. We put in a rehearsal room in it, and so we started at this room. And I remember the first day, so we painted the walls. It seems that was something in this paint what made us really crazy. So
you could stay high. We were completely high from the color.
And every time we had this rehearsal, we had a tape deck in it. So, and when we recorded all what we did, and after this day when we were high, yes, we were listening to this tape, and we were totally confused what we are doing there.
So how did you react though when Andre came and introduced Hansi as the new member? Was that an obvious choice for you, or was it, shall we really bring him into it?
Good question. Yeah. I'm curious.
To be honest, I was very surprised, because since I know him for a very long time, I was even not aware that he was playing bass or was a singer at all.
He wasn't aware that I was playing.
Welcome to the club.
It's about taking chances.
Correct, yeah. But it worked very well, and we had fun.
Funny thing, we know each other, I think, since we're 11, 12, you know.
Yeah.
And we always got along very well. But I met him before as well, because I attended one of his shows on a church festival, and it was so deadly boring music. I called it Badedas music. But after them, there was a heavy metal band playing, and you agreed on that too, that they were far better than you were.
Yes, sure.
So, and then, you know, next time I met him was in the rehearsal room, and we figured that, you know, I have seen him playing live. You know, I was surprised when Andre told me that you joined his band and you played some of the stuff to me, and I was pretty blown away.
Yes, right. I played the 04 tape to you.
Yeah, and I was blown away. That was the first time I realized, he might be a metal guy. It was by far better than anything I've done up to that point. So, you know, I was curious to join these guys, and I knew you as a drummer. So I had a pretty good feeling that how good the band was, you know. Just because of you.
You were knowing Hansi, and I know Hansi as well, so he joined us, and Lucifer's heritage was born.
Yeah, then I got in, and we did that first rehearsal in the room which you painted, and it stank like hell. It was so terrible.
Because we didn't have a window to bring fresh air in.
The three of you
really
smoked like, you know.
And it is a really small room. That room still exists in the same shape.
There's hardly anything you can do.
Yeah.
There's hardly anything you can do, and it still smells. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. To avoid dying of CO.
It was the only option for us to start, and I was happy that my mom allowed this, even that the neighbors were complaining every day we rehearsed. They came, they ring the bell, they said, we will call the police. They
called the police.
They called the police many times, but my mom was cool. She said, well, they are kids, they need to do something, they do music, that's better than doing shit, so keep calm. and we kept rehearsing. We were looking for other rehearsal rooms only because the drum set was taking so much space that we had to share the rest of the space like this. We could barely move, and after 20 minutes with a closed door, we had to do a break and open that from the other room could at least some air.
Bring some oxygen. Yeah.
And you were checking the air always with a lighter.
Yeah.
Lighter goes on, it stays on. Okay, here is no air anymore. Open the door.
There was always a candle burning, and every time the candle was out, so we decided to open quickly the door.
So when I got in, I didn't have any equipment, not at all. So it was your Roland amplifier I was singing to in the beginning, and your son, you gave to me for the bass guitar. Oh, I did the singing with the son, I think, and yours was my bass amplifier. And it took years before I got other equipment. I bought the bass, I bought some of my albums, and for most of the money I went out for party and used it for drinking. But it was enough to buy a so-called proper bass, and then we had a lot of fun. And we have been very creative, I remember.
Yeah.
We got a bunch of good stuff already together.
Yeah, and we were already rehearsed 3 to 4 times so far as I can remember per week. So it was quite a lot.
And we wrote songs. Every time we worked on the songs, we tried to bring ideas together. We worked them out. And since the room was really not good for party, we worked, actually. The other rooms, when we had the better rehearsal rooms, we did more party.
More space, more party. I guess when you come together at such a young age, you do not have, you have, let's say the fun is the priority. So, and we had fun. And after we have seen that the songs we were playing were quite good. So it was I would say, a logical development what we were doing.
Yeah, I felt the same. It was the first day felt a little shaky for me because I was obviously insecure, but because I never did anything like that. And it was your song I was singing, and from my point of view, you did a good job. So I was like, okay, what can I do better than he does? He's singing the notes, and it sounds like music to me. And I was a metal kid. Yeah, as you said, I had a punkish attitude, so noise was good for me, and I didn't have any clue about patterns and frames and tracks and basically about nothing. So I just threw in everything I had, and it worked out fine. But ever since the second day, or maybe even on the first day, as you said, we started composing together. We tried to improve the songs, and that felt totally naturally to me.
I think the biggest change when Hansi came in the band was that before we had more a rockish attitude. We were more like a old-fashioned rock or soft metal. I don't know. It was not really metal. It was more rock. And when Hansi came, he had this complete heavy metal attitude. He was into all the fast albums, fast bands, and his way to sing had more drive. It had a more aggressive approach. So we had to keep up with the new things we wrote to make it fit, and the songs became faster immediately. Everything became faster, and I think even the old stuff, like Brian, we played faster from that moment. Because it was just, you were going, and okay, let's go, okay. And we became faster, and from that moment we changed from a hard rock band to a metal band, I think.
Yeah, Metal Hansi.
Yeah, it was really heavy metal Hansi, and he was, only his looks, he was the perfect heavy metal kid. You were so much heavy metal as you could be heavy metal.
But not even the leather jacket was mine, I didn't know anything.
Who cares?
I borrowed that from my cousin, and never gave it back.
Who cares? It was just perfect. It was the whole attitude and this way of that lifestyle of heavy metal. And I don't know, we catched up with this, and then all of a sudden we were living heavy metal, really like living it.
Role model, I call that.
Trendsetter.
Touché. Take that.
So we talked about the rehearsal space. What do you remember about the first gig that you did back then?
Our first show as Lucifer's Heritage did not include Hans-Peter, because we then were working with Thoman. And this took place at your school, where we got a rehearsal room. So that was a complete disaster, you know, to put it in short words, because we were convinced that we were good, and I think musically, at least with regard to the songs, we have been good, but we did not have equipment, and we did not have a clue that we were supposed to have a PA, so we were playing with the stuff we have had. For a school festival, open air school festival, that was not good, but we were noisy, which was good for me. We started playing with high expectations, and the first time I recall people applauding was when the principal plugged the power. And yeah, then the show was over. And we were disappointed.
So far as I can remember the first gig, I had always trouble with my bass drums, so I was always try to repair something because everything was broken.
Is there any drummer in this world who doesn't have problems with the bass drums when a gig appears?
No, I have no idea. So.
But what I remember is the first gig we made with Phoenix.
Yeah.
That was this Kulturfabrik in Krefeld. We wanted to play there, and we only had this tape deck.
Okay, there's a cassette player, put it in the tape, and then they started it like, okay, you can stop it, we know which kind of music you do now.
And you saw, when you were sitting in front of them, how the face changes when this music, this is not good for you.
So I remember that Krefeld was very much focused on jazz.
Yeah.
So at that time, and even those people had some problems to fill up the concerts of the Kulturfabrik, which was the biggest venue here in town. And so everybody was looking to what else can be done. So the KMI, this was a musical initiative here in Krefeld. They decided to think about a new way to maybe fill up the concert hall a little bit more. So and they were thinking about rock and roll or hard rock or heavy metal, and then there was a heavy metal night born.
And as Hans-Peter already said, back then the guys doing this KMI thing and running the Kulturfabrik, they were jazz heads, and I remember that they were pretty pissed that, you know, when they did their jazz gigs, the usual 50 people showed up, and when the metal gig happened, the thing was sold out and everybody was, you know, the place was bursting.
And it was full. It was sold out at the evening. It was the first time in Krefeld and the first time for the music initiative that the concert hall was full of people. So they were totally surprised. And all of a sudden, people from newspapers came, Rheinische Post, Westdeutsche Zeitung, etc., etc., and they wrote some very positive critics about this evening. So this was really the start of what's saying hard rock, heavy metal scene in Krefeld and the near environment.
Seeing a metal gig in Krefeld at that point of time was very special at all, you know. And I mean, if you wanted to see your metal bands, you had to go to either Bochum, Zeche, or if it was the big bands Maiden in Essen or whatever. But something happening in Krefeld was a new experience for me. I think it was pretty much the first metal gig I ever seen here.
It happened really fast that we became the local heroes in Krefeld.
Yeah.
We had already that first demo tape that was selling good. We were doing the copies, we were selling the copies everywhere. And when we played, the people came because they knew our music. And all the other bands that rehearsed, there was at least 50 rehearsal rooms, and many bands played still 70s rock music, I think. But nobody knew what they were doing, so they were maybe existing 10 years, but they were not moving forward, and we were only existing 1 year, and we had already a following. We could increase the following with the second tape, it became bigger, and we were already bigger as a band than all other bands from Krefeld. We had a reputation, and we were showing that we could bring a certain quality on stage. We were not like the other bands concentrating and focused what we play. We were really doing a show. We were going for a show, like we said, okay, let's go crazy, and whatever we can do, we do. We had a different approach. I mean, I watched many bands playing live, but they were all so insecure and just trying to play accurate, and we didn't give a shit. If there was bad notes, there were bad notes, so what? But I was jumping higher than the others, so so what? And Hansi, and that was really impressive. Hansi had this magic to lead the audience through a show. From the very first show, I saw that he was kind of entertainer. He had just this spirit between fans and band. He could connect with them. He did an introduction, he did another introduction, and then he started playing games with them.
Yeah, right.
Let me introduce to the Lucifer's Heritage Dice's game. And they were all like, oh,
He pulled out dices from his
what
pants.
is he doing? What is he doing? And he was, I don't know, telling jokes, and then all of a sudden, okay, ding, 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 next song, and we were exploding again. But it was such a funny, entertaining way, and so easygoing, that the whole band was in this mood. And of course we were good like this. Nobody could catch up with such a live thing.
I remember that we even rehearsed at some point. We wanted to be good on stage, and we rehearsed with show in the rehearsal room. So we were banging our heads and running around the rehearsal room in some rehearsals just to be prepared for the gigs. It was...
I remember our video shooting. The four of us did that video shooting, you know, where we were really posing.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
on playback. I'm sure Andre has it somewhere. If you capture that, I mean,
Sure,
that is amazing.
Okay.
We also made a photo session, you know, we were appearing as, you know, rock stars, and we were posing as hell, like Scorpions, you know.
More like Guns N' Roses.
They were not excessive.
It's the one
that
with
time.
me. I don't know.
And in your case, have you ever regretted that you wanted to focus on a civil career instead of a music career?
Yes, I mean, therefore you need to cut a long story short. The short answer is yes, but of course the longer answer is at latest after they released Somewhere Far Beyond, I was really pissed by myself because I for me it's one of the strongest albums, and for me Blind Guardian did at that time exactly what I always wanted to do, and it was so bright, you know, so flexible. So I was sometimes, you know, sitting in my room and was crying a bit, and I said, "Oh man!" But on the other hand, I mean, every decision is the right decision at that time. So, and it doesn't make sense to be very sad about something which has not happened so far. And I'm very proud to be a little part of this history, and I'm very happy to be here tonight. So I really appreciate the invitation, and it's great to see all these guys again. So from time to time we see each other, but not really that often, so it's great. And it shows me a bit of respect as well, and it's good for my soul. You know? It's fine.
So you have obviously followed the band and the career, and how about you? Have you continued listening to Blind Guardian after you left the band?
Yes, sure, of course, because we have been in close contact for a very long time. We lived also very, very close together, so we could meet each other, and but we have this old friendship, so you do not talk about very often about music, because we have other themes what we are talking about. I did not stop because to listen to Blind Guardian. I also bought the first record when they came out. I have an original, and it is in very good shape. So so I did not stop to hear Blind Guardian. Sure.